Welcome to People Like You. Jubilee Christian Center celebrates 35 years of service to the Bay Area and around the globe from its beautiful facility in the city of San Jose. Today, founding Pastor Dick Bernal talks about the past 35 years and what's ahead for Jubilee. And we'll hear firsthand Pastor Bernal's personal testimony that led to this legacy of ministry. Don't go away.
As I'm driving down the hill, this presence says, you're going to be a preacher, you're going to be a minister of the gospel. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Welcome back. The vision of Jubilee Christian Center is to help everyone experience God and love people. Under the anointed direction of founding Pastor Dick Bernal, Jubilee continues in that vision worldwide as they celebrate a 35-year legacy. I can't believe it's been that long.
35 years. We've known each other.
For all of that 35
all
years.
Those years. Which is amazing because we're both still in our 20s.
I was 15, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I had black curly hair. I still have hair, but it's not quite the same color.
Admission. I don't remember it ever being black.
Somebody asked me, what happened to your hair? I said, two people, God and Carla, my wife.
Well, she could be a handful, probably.
Oh, well, I guess she's a good handful. She's my spiritual mother. I always tell people it's weird to live with your spiritual mother.
I so love your testimony. You have to share it.
Okay, I will.
Lots going on at Jubilee.
Yeah, we have all kinds of things going on. In fact, sometimes I have to call in and find out what's going on, or I look up at the iMag like, I didn't know that person was coming. But that's the beauty of community and letting other people grab hold of the vision and then to delegate them, like this is your department. And if you want me there to open in prayer or to sit in the back row and applaud, but that's the beauty of a church that's diverse. Ethnically, we've got people from every walk of life, as you know.
Yes.
And so we're always doing things with our India ministry, our Chinese ministry, our African American ministry. We have a very healthy sized Spanish church, and it's just cool. A business ministry, and for me to pop in and see what people are doing. There was a time back in the day, Debbie, where I did everything. I did all the weddings, I did all the funerals, I did all the hospital visitation. I went to everybody's house for dinner. I put on 30 pounds. I actually did. No, I did. I was a construction worker, basketball player. I was always thin.
Yes.
But then when I went into the ministry, all of a sudden I'm sitting, reading the Bible, and eating 5 times a day. And it's like, whoa, I better get back in some activity here.
When did it first open its doors? What?
November. It was November the 16th.
Okay.
1980. We started our church with a huge crowd of 4 people. My alcoholic brother-in-law, who was mad at the world and shooting his gun every Saturday night, and somewhat suicidal. My very nervous sister, who was married to him, and my other hippie sister, Judy, and a niece who just got off drugs. I think she was getting off drugs. And that was the genesis.
Oh, wow.
Well, let me tell you something. When I got saved, Debbie, and I got called by God,
It totally was a called by God.
Well, it was the weirdest thing. I'm in a pickup truck going down. At the time, I lived in a little town of Paradise, California, up in Butte County. And I'm going to work in Sacramento, which is 105 miles away. I'd get up at 3:30, 4 in the morning, take me 2 hours to get to work. And I don't know if I even should share this because some people are going to like, what planet is this guy from? But my car kind of lit up like a light came on, and a voice and a presence said, prepare to serve me full time. Wow. And basically tell your boss. And I was squeezing my steering wheel and I remember looking out the driver's window, and the sun was peeking over the Sierra Mountains. And you could see that little orange strip, and this holy thing was sitting next to me. And maybe it was my imagination, but the voice was audible. It wasn't like something that came up out of me, because I wasn't even.
You weren't thinking
I'm
about
thinking
it.
about. I ran a crew. We were remodeling the rotunda of the Sacramento Capitol building because of a huge earthquake a couple of years before, and I was an iron worker. I'm a construction worker most of my adult life. And so we had a great church service, and the day before, I was a fairly new Christian, but as I'm driving down the hill, this presence says, you're going to be a preacher, you're going to be a minister of the gospel. And it's like, are you kidding me? Are you that, I almost said, are you that desperate? Like me? I said,
no,
with the first 32 years of my life was not spent in church.
Yes.
Not even close.
I know.
It was more with the Hells Angels.
That's what I recall about your testimony.
And with guys even worse. No offense to my friends from any biker club, but
you were not a candidate for ministry for sure. You weren't
no seminary recruited me.
A candidate.
No.
For anything other
I
than
visited a Catholic church
biking at the
twice
time.
my whole life,
Yeah.
and a Presbyterian church once. That was in 32 years. And I always knew there was a God. In fact, when I was a little kid in Watsonville, then moved to San Jose back in the day, I used to kneel down. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. We weren't church people. There was no church people in my, the Bernals came from Spain, so they were traditional Catholics 240 years ago. They migrated with the De Anza expedition up through Mexico. My grandpa and his two brothers, Bernal Heights, San Francisco, Bernal Road in Pleasanton, that's the uncles.
Are you serious?
And then my grandpa's Bernal Road, San Jose, which is down by Santa Teresa area. So I'm the 6th generation Bernal. So there was some Catholicism, traditional, Catholicism from Spain, but my dad wasn't a church. My dad didn't even raise me. My dad and mom got divorced when I was 2, maybe close to 3. But nobody in my family, Grandma and Grandpa pretty much raised me, my mom and my 2 sisters. Now, Grandma would watch Oral Roberts and Bishop Fulton Sheen religiously every week. And I'd sit there as a little kid. I became a golfing buddy of Oral Roberts later, and I said, Brother Oral, when I was a little guy, I used to watch you on black and white TV. Wow. No idea I would ever get to meet you, let alone play golf with you and be a friend.
And we have to go to a break, but you also had later on a praying wife, which we can talk more with Pastor Dick when we return. Good thing.
Hi, Dick and Carla. Congratulations on 35 years of fruitful ministry. The Bay Area is a better place because of you and Jubilee Christian Center. And better than that, heaven is populated because of your ministry. Congratulations.
We're back. So biker but praying grandparents.
Well, my grandma read the Bible. My Uncle Dick, who drowned when he was 21.
Yes.
That's
why you named it after him.
Named after him, and it devastated Grandma and Grandpa. But my grandma still read her Bible every night. I always wondered, what's in that book that she'd spend an hour every night, close it, and she'd kind of look up and stick it on the little table there and never say anything about it. So there's no pedigree. I have no Christian pedigree in my life until I met Carla. Basically, my life was.
Carla's a gorgeous lady.
Yeah,
inside and out.
Carla is an amazing soul winner, intercessor, prayer warrior. Don't put her in her pulpit. Don't. She's not. She doesn't like the big crowds. Not that she loves everybody, but that's not her comfort zone.
Yeah. She's a
in fact, her and I did a lot of TV back in the day, and I said, how come you're so comfortable? She goes, I see one person. I said, I see millions. Well, I'm looking at the camera, I'm talking thousands, hundreds, millions.
Yeah.
And that energizes me. She goes, if I think there's 2 people watching, I'm gonna faint.
Well, that would be me.
Oh, look at you. I remember when you were behind the camera, now look at you.
You've done a lot of work in Seoul, Korea. In fact, when we've tried to get you here, you're traveling. Sorry. Out of the country. Sorry. I'm just going to share this right now.
Yeah.
A lot of work internationally.
Yes, ma'am. Been going to Seoul. My pastor, Dr. Cho, I met in '85. Yeah. And then my first here in San Jose. And he invited me to speak at the world's largest church. You talk about nervous. 1986, 87.
That long ago? Wow.
And he's been a great inspiration very humble man, very simple, humble man. Just teaches such a clear message of faith and hope
Yeah.
and love. And I have been, you know, I've been to Korea about 40 times.
Plus, you've one the books you wrote, Storming Hell's Brazen Gates.
Yeah,
that helped start getting Brownsville going, if I recall.
That's I got a call.
A lot of history with you.
Yeah, I got a call years ago, 2 days before Christmas. We're shutting down the office for a little Christmas break, and my secretary said, John Kilpatrick wants to talk to you, and it didn't ring a bell. And I thought, well, you know, I picked up the phone, Pastor Dick, yeah, this is, you know, John, and I'm thinking, okay, who are you? He says, maybe you've heard of the revival. Well, he said Brownsville Church. Well, Brownsville, Texas, I'm still trying to like.
Yes.
And he goes, well, some people call it the Pensacola Revival. I said, of course. I said, you're the pastor? And he said, Dick, I got to tell you something. I read your book. I taught 10 Sunday nights out of the chapters.
Yeah.
And the next Sunday night, Steve Hill came, and we've been in revival ever since. So you're one of the key people to this revival, and please come out and see what you helped start. And
wow.
I'm writing a book, and my publisher says you need Dick's permission to quote. I did my book, well, I think it was with Destiny Image, and I said, you could quote the whole book, John. I said, I'll sign whatever. I'm honored. And when I went out there, about 200 or 300 people from our church eventually went. And we actually stood in line. He wanted to give me the VIP treatment. I said, no, I want to experience what everybody's experiencing.
Wow.
So we stood in line. In fact, my daughter's in the studio. She was with us. And we stood in line for hours because I wanted to see what it was like to be that hungry, to be in a church that's truly in revival. And to know I had just a little pebble of influence, just really, really blessed my soul.
Oh, to have that here someday, huh?
We need it. Well, we're going to have it. We're going to have it.
We're going to have
in San Francisco.
You're going to talk about that in
yes,
another episode, aren't you? Okay. Yeah, more about that. So, 4 people.
Yeah, we started the church with 4.
Okay, I was there
four
weeks
dysfunctional people,
ago.
including the pastor.
I was there a few weekends ago, and I had my little phone. So I took some pictures with my phone of a place that I was at when I was there a couple weekends ago.
Right.
Okay, this place is 77,000 square feet.
That's our youth center and children's center.
That's the youth center.
Yeah, not that we have, you know, tens of thousands of kids coming, but we use it. Yeah, the building's close to 80,000 square feet, and that's half of it is for children, 5 to 12. The other half is multi-purpose, high school kids, singles, young adults, Wednesday night service. And we did the TBC, Transforming the Bay for Christ there.
I had the pull cue in my hand.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Computer systems, workstations for kids if they want to do.
Yeah. Games, we got
amazing.
Pool tables, basketball, things that kids like to do.
Yeah.
So they could invite their friends.
Yeah.
Because you know the perception of church, you know how skewed it is. And some of it's probably our fault from some of the things in our history, our past, speaking of the church in general. But, you know, Jubilee's always been, and I hate to use the word fun because that doesn't sound very spiritual, but people, I believe when people come to Jubilee, that they really experience the love of God because the people that come are, for the most part, pretty happy people, going through problems.
And the worship teams and the whole thing.
We got Jackie and the team from Hillsong and from Australia, and what we've done is we've blended traditional gospel music because of Ron Canoli's influence in the day, back in the day,
I remember Ron.
and Jackie from C3 and Hillsong. So we've kind of merged. We call it gospel fusion or Christian music fusion, and it's working. It's working.
When we come back from the break, I want to do some more talking about 35 years, but I just want to bring a point up. 4 people, 77,000 square feet, and that's the youth building.
Yeah, that's the youth building.
Thank you for starting the church.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
More as we celebrate 35 years of ministry for Jubilee Christian Center of San Jose, so stay with us.
What other place in the world can black people, white people, people from India, China, Latinos, Latinas come together and hold hands and pray? You don't see that anywhere except in the house of God.
Welcome back. Pastor, you've had some really interesting people come through the church over these last 35 years.
Oh, from Steve Perry, the singer who sat next to my sister, the great lead singer for Journey. My sister didn't know who he was, and my sister said,
"Is this
young
Juanita?"
man, you should, no, Judy.
Judy?
My sister Judy, because he used to have comb his hair, now he's doing it. And she goes, you need to get in our choir. You really have a voice, young man. He thought that was cute. And, you know, Tiger Woods showed up when he was at Stanford, Bill Clinton, Rene Russo. You know, I got to go elk hunting with Justice Scalia recently because of the Jubilee connection.
Yes.
And, you know, we've had senators and we've had celebrities and we've had, you know, just you never know who's coming. And I'm a name dropper. You know, like if I tell everybody, you know, oh, Bill Clinton and I were like that, you know, even though we're polar opposites when it comes to my conservative views, but he really was charming. He helped us raise $2 million for earthquake. And then of course, MC Hammer was on my staff for 3 years.
Yes, I remember that.
And we did a radio show, and we did a TV talk show, and he's still one of my closest friends today.
Well, Jubilee is known as a lighthouse in the area.
Well,
It is.
I think we are.
Yes.
I hope our light still shines. The city set on a hill, and we try to make it. And it's not, of course, it's not about the rich and the famous. It's about, we have homeless people. That's the beautiful thing, Debbie, about where else in the world except in the house of God, not just Jubilee, but there's so many wonderful churches in the Bay Area where somebody drives a Mercedes can sit next to somebody who had to catch the bus and barely had bus money, and both of them worshiping the same God. Now, hopefully, the haves are helping the have-nots, and we push that. But what other place in the world can black people, white people, people from India, China, Latinos, Latinas come together and hold hands and pray? You don't see that anywhere except in the house of God.
And that's kind of what Jubilee is about, and then some of the things you're involved in now even, in terms of TBC and other, you want to talk about that for a minute?
Well, TBC, Transformation for the Bay, which really started with a few people. Pat Gelsinger, who is the CEO of VMware, a $45 billion company, beautiful Christian man, thought he was going to be the CEO of Intel, but he moved to Oregon. But he came back. He came back to the Bay Area because Jesus sent him back here to do something. Well, Kevin Palau, Louis Palau's son from Portland, my friend Steve Clifford, John Talbert, they got together and let's do something, a united, concerted effort. And then all of a sudden, let's call Dick. Let's get the charismatics in here. Let's get the ethnic churches. Let's get the Korean, the Chinese, the Hispanic, the black churches.
And you're connected to all.
And we've got right now, under some wonderful leadership, Nancy Ortberg has just been put in. She's a trip, man. This girl is one smart lady. She goes, "You surf?" I go, "Well, I used to 40 years ago." She goes, "I'm taking surfing lessons." I mean, she's a trip. I love this girl. Her, of course, John, Menlo Park Press, one of the legendary great churches in the world, and she's now the CEO. John Talbert, our friend, is the CEO, and I'm in there, and Ken Foreman and Ed Salvoso, and so we got charismatics. You know, we got the juicy charismatics, we got the crunchy evangelicals, and everybody in between. And Catholics are welcome to come. And it's a united effort to see if we can plant 1,000 new churches in the next 10 years.
Wow.
And we have a budget for that. And if we can increase, church attendance is about 3% in the greater 9 million people Bay Area, 8 to 9 million people. If in 10 years, can we get that close to 10%, if not more? So it's a big vision. It's, some might say, optimistic or way too optimistic, but it's a vision, and we're running with it.
That's so cool. And in another episode, you'll talk more about that.
Yeah, if you'd like to, we could talk a little more about that, because I'm sure there's some pastors that are watching, and maybe they've heard, you know, because we pastors, we hear all these things, so we're a little reticent because been there, done that, got the T-shirt, the coffee cup, all that.
Yes.
It's like, is this another one of those? Well, no, this isn't just another one of those.
So.
This thing's got legs. It's got teeth. It's for real.
2 minutes. Your heart hasn't changed for God in the least unless it's grown. And what's ahead for Jubilee?
Well, I'm 70, and so of course I'm thinking transition, bringing in the younger. I got my son. I got a young great preacher, Michael Pitts from Toledo, that's probably eventually going to move out here and help with the preaching of the church. my kids are serving in ministry, and I'm thinking, of course, I'm always going to write books. I'm always going to travel. I mean, this year I'm going to Lima, Paraguay, Korea, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Mexico 3 times, and that's just in the next 4 months. And so I'm going to continue Italy, Spain, Hungary, Romania. I'm going to continue going to places that they value, that I might have something to say that can help them, their nation, their church. I'm preaching a little less than I used to, a couple of times a month, and we're still giving altar calls, evangelizing, making disciples, and sending people around the world, and helping like Nepal and places where there's horrible disasters. We rally the troops, and we do our best to send money, love, shoes, jackets, sleeping bags, and it's the Jesus in us that compels us to help the hurting, even, and not forgetting those across the street and next door.
You know, Pastor, in somewhere around 1980, I first met you, and you were on fire. You were recently saved, and you were sold out for Christ. And 35 years later, I see that same man.
I did something I do not recommend. I got saved in '77, started a church in 1980. I don't, you know, probably should have went to seminary, probably would have got some formal training, probably should have been an apprentice or an assistant somewhere, but I went from, you know, my hair was still wet from the baptistry to, I'm gonna start a church. Had no idea what I was doing.
But look what God did.
So when people look at Jubilee, it's like, Dick Bernal did not do it. That's not Dick's church. That's not, when people say, we're going to go visit Dick's church, don't say that. I had very little except just some simple obedience, but that was the Holy Spirit put this thing together.
Amen. Well, thanks for being here today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
For more information about Pastor Dick, Jubilee Christian Center, or how to take advantage or become involved with any of their outreaches, visit jubilee.org or ktln.tv. This is a ministry that has continued to be dedicated to meeting your needs for 35 years. Why not drop by and say thank you? Remember that KTLN is a donor-supported ministry, and programs like this one are made possible through your support. Thanks for being with us. Join us again next week.